What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Kiodiekin, and I'm pleased to announce this is the first unveiling of the brand new Supreme Ultra build. I've been building it and playing with it for the past month, maybe month and a half or so. But just to let you guys know that I am using the Retropie 4 8 GB model. There were a lot of updates and tweaks that had to be done by the Supreme team in order to get this to work. So I'm going to cover all that in this video today. I have a lot of new announcements that I need to get out to you guys. I do have some video clips I wanted to show you, but I'm just going to shotgun it to you guys and hope you guys take my word for it and do your research on your own time. So let's go ahead and get into this review. I hope you guys are excited about it just as much as I am. All right, guys, so here we have it. We have EmulationStation Retropie 64-bit OS. If you activate the 64-bit OS system running through Pixel, that's fully integrated. Right now, you guys are looking at a image. I just took as many ROMs as I currently have normally for Retropie and dumped them on here. So right now, this is standing at about 425 gigabytes or so. That's including media as well. This is the first. This is called Supreme Ultra. You guys will see this here in the next few weeks. There's probably some more tweaking to be done to it. I've played around with all the Daphne games and some of the other systems emulators, and I haven't really seen any issues. I've been testing this thoroughly, and so this is the first build that is a quad-based boot. So this is the first quad-based boot build. You could boot directly into EmulationStation, Attract Mode, Pegasus, and Pixel. So I know for a lot of you, you guys are already familiar with obviously EmulationStation and Attract Mode. Some of you have maybe seen Pegasus before, maybe in one of my previous videos, but it is now fully functional. Everything's working really good. And you also will have the ability to boot directly into Pixel, which is the quote unquote is Raspbian OS like desktop, which you can activate the Dolphin emulator and play Nintendo Wii games. So you guys will have that eventually. Hopefully in the near future, some Vulkan drivers for the pi4 will be available, so you guys can get the best optimal rate you can on the pi4. All right, so a few other updates. I decided to keep my 1 terabyte drive external. It's an external SSD. It is a Samsung T7. It has a 1000 gigabyte read speed and a 1000 gigabyte write speed. That is a lot faster than some of the other Samsung external drives as far as speed. I do have a previous Samsung external that has a 500 megabyte read speed. So because Retropie now has an Eepromed update, and just to let you guys know again, I am using the pi4 8 GB model that is Eepromed updated, and this particular build, Supreme Ultra, will work with pi4 4 GB, or it will also work with the 8 GB. So previously, a few weeks ago, you could not use a image on a pi4 4 GB or 8 GB. The booting and the Eepromed settings were entirely different. So had some problems with that as far as the videos and everything being able to play. So all of that has been worked out, unless there's anything new that I find out here in the next few days. But everything is working really well and functional. So I'm going to walk you guys through some of these things. Some of these things you guys are already familiar with. Again, just to let you guys know, originally I was a little bit, as you guys can see, 420 gigabytes is used. I have 469 gigabytes available. As you guys know, some time ago I did have a 8 terabyte build or storage already hooked up, so that was good to go. So just to let you guys know, originally I was against the whole Samsung, or not Samsung, but the whole SSD thing or drive. I was like, why? I mean, I got enough SD cards. I mean, it was more than enough, as you know. And I'm thinking about in terms of price. You know, obviously, I know SSDs are a lot faster, but just in terms of price, you know, you could get a standard 128 gigabyte drive or a disk for about 20 bucks, and then of course you can get a 256 card Samsung Evo for about 59 bucks, and I know those prices fluctuated between 100 to $59. That's all fine and all, but after doing some testing, I realized that looking at the SSD, of course, using the USB 3.1 port, it wasn't a bottleneck anymore as far as transferring ROMs. Now, originally, I thought when I was using the 8 gigabyte model that maybe transferring ROMs and doing some other things opened up additional lanes of traffic. But essentially, what it was the speed of my drive. The drive is really fast as far as being able to read and being able to write. So I was able to transfer all the ROMs that you guys see in about a good hour and 30 minutes. And for those of you guys out there who are used to building or making your own images or just familiar with the process, you know, if you're transferring your ROMs or whatnot on your home network, you could probably transfer, like, let's say a set of Atari games and Nintendo games, maybe two at a time, you know, per ROM sets. So with this, I was able to transfer all of them at the same time, or transfer like 6 or 7 sets, like let's say arcade set, PSX, Nintendo 64. I was able to transfer, you know, not PlayStation, but Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System. I was able to transfer all those all at the same time and still navigate the menu just like I'm doing right now with absolutely no lag whatsoever. So I was still scrolling through my Pi like you guys are seeing here and transferring all my ROMs at the same time. So that was really phenomenal to see because there was no longer a bottleneck holding that up. So it definitely saves you a lot of time as far as making an image. So as far as I know, and I have talked to some of the other builders and image makers, they will be, and I know I will be using SSDs for demonstration purposes, and then also that is the optimal way to go when testing a build. So I know that there are several other images that have come out for the pi4. I think some are coming out here in the next few days, and some have came out last week. And I will tell you, as far as those will still have bottleneck problems because they're using SD cards and not a SSD. So let me show you guys some of the front ends here. We are going to take a look at the settings. So yeah, obviously we have Pixel. You guys are familiar with all of these. Oh, and before I go any further, let me go ahead and take a look at this. This is OpenBeats. So one of the other optimal things that has been added is in the past you guys had to open up your OpenBOR, and then of course you would have your games there, and then you had to open them up and compile them some kind of way, and then of course set up your keyboard to set up your controller. Well, as of today, or with this build, you guys don't have to do that. If I click on this game or any of these games, you guys can go right on in, get ready to play them with no problems whatsoever. I think in some of the games it still requires you a keyboard to adjust your controllers, but for the most part the game will launch directly. There's no more funny business, as you guys can see there, and the games will go ahead and start. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of here. Yeah, see, there's the game. You can navigate with the menus, and I'm going to go ahead and quit because I don't need to play this anyway. So there you guys go. There you have it. That's another change that has been made to OpenBOR. I will include this set, which is about 61 games or so. I will include that with my personal Venom image when I do release it, and then also my arcade only build, which is going to be 128 gigs. All right, so let's take a look at some of the things that this build has to offer. And I do have a reason why I left Sega Saturn on here. You can run Sega Saturn from the desktop with the OpenGL with the 64-bit OS, and you will be able to run most of those games at, I think, a 98% success rate. So you will have that available, but trust me, I'm going to leave them there because there's some other new announcements that I will release and let you guys know at a later date, but not right now. But you guys will be happy that I left that there for you. All right, so let's go here and look at options. And we're going to take a look at the front end selector. So as you guys can see, we have EmulationStation on the left, we got Pegasus on the right. We have a track mode as well. So let's take a quick look at Pegasus first, because I know you guys have not seen a lot of these videos where Pegasus is on Retropie. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. And once you set the boot, just to let you guys know, yes, you can get to Pixel through Retropie or a track mode, but if you do the boot, it boots directly into that. So that's the biggest difference. So if you want to use this as an OS and just boot there directly without having to worry about EmulationStation and stuff, that's pretty much the only option for Pixel. So if you do want to, let's say if you want to, right now I'm booting the Pegasus. So if I do want to continue to boot to a track mode or EmulationStation or something, I do have to make sure I switch that back in the settings. Turning it off and turning it back on will not allow you to go back to your original default setup. So just wanted to put that out. All right, so once the system has rebooted, you guys saw the splash screen. We are now going to be booting into Pegasus. All right, so here we have Pegasus. We have our settings. I am using my left joystick to move around, and I'm going to have to use my top left and right bumper to move around and navigate through the settings. So using Pegasus, it gives you a different layout and format. I actually like this. It's just a little something different in terms of what EmulationStation has to offer and the track mode. So if this is your cup of tea, then you have something else to kind of customize your build. I definitely love how the box art and everything is really nice and it's all set up for you. And here we go. So we're in Sega Mega Drive. You guys have a large number of library. Here's all the settings and all the layout is still going to look the same for all the games. Just going to scroll through really quickly so you guys can see. And I might do a future tutorial on how to Eepromed update your current Retropie build if you are using a Supreme build. There is an official way to do it, but I'm not going to bother with that. There is another way to how to Eepromed your current build, but however, the Supreme builds already have a update there for you, so you guys can update your current build to work on, obviously work on your Pi, but so you can have it USB enabled. So in order to do it, you would actually have to Eepromed update it, back it up, and then reburn it to your card again, or to your SSD, or your USB drive, your thumb drive, and then you can boot it up that way. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. And then of course the Eepromed update for the pi4 8GB model is a little different, but it will require the same steps. So hopefully if I have time in another video, I will keep you guys updated and show you guys how to do that. All right, so this is pretty much the menu here for Pegasus. Obviously the menu screens and everything will look a little bit different for you guys. Just wanted to give you guys a look at to what it looks like. And then you have your settings, you have your controls. You guys can easily change here, and you can also change the theme as well. So we won't mess with that. So we'll go ahead and get out. And in fact, let me go back to front end emulator. I gotta find the settings first. And I have about 14 Daphne games on here. I think I may add a couple more. All right, so we're gonna move on and let's exit out and visit a track mode, so you guys can take a look at that. All right, so here we have the boot selection. So we're now going to boot to track mode, and then of course the system is going to shut down, and then it's going to take us to the splash screen and then boot us back into a track mode. All right, so here we are on a track mode. And I could tell you the menu for this one looks a little bit better than the ones I've seen previously with the Supreme team. So they have kind of revamped their track mode image. So we're just gonna kind of go through this a little bit for a lot of you people out there who are new, if you haven't seen this before. A track mode is the equivalent of coin op. So I know a track mode, hyperspin, they're all kind of the same thing. I know they're different in some ways, but for those of you guys who are not familiar with the track mode and you are familiar with hyperspin or coin ops, this is their version, or the EmulationStation Retropie version of coin ops, and also a track mode. I'm sorry, hyperspin. Excuse me. You have your audio tools. You have your controller tools. You can configure your light gun. You guys have all those settings there. Then you have, of course, you have your Retropie tools. You guys are familiar with all of these here. These are the same ones you guys can find on the EmulationStation menu under Retropie. So you guys have all these same settings here. Nothing's different. Obviously, you guys are familiar with the front end selector. I've been covering that specifically for this video. And then, of course, you have the Supreme Online Toolkit. So as you guys know, this is hooked up to a server. So if you guys have any problems and it just requires a minor update, the Supreme team can update that for you. So let's go ahead and take a look, see what we have as far as some of the games. And here on this menu, this is where you can adjust several of your emulators. You have OpenBOR module selection. Then, of course, you have the new N64 emulator tweak. And for those of you guys who still have a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus or Raspberry Pi 3B, I hope you guys are taking advantage of the new Vulkan drivers that was made by Dev from NVIDIA. He went ahead and added those, so now you guys can run N64 games and several other games on there full speed without any hindrances. So hopefully those should be coming to the pi4 pretty soon as well. It's still something in the works. So let's go ahead and back out of here. We're going to go back to EmulationStation and show you guys a few more things. So as we're booting back into EmulationStation, I know when I talked to WDG, he said that I think he removed one of the emulators, because I know there was Kiodiekin, which is a Wii emulator, and then there's also Dolphin. So I know he removed one of them. I can't remember which one. So you guys will be able to find that on the Pixel desktop as well. And if you follow some of my other tutorials, which I've already covered, you guys will be able to access those and run hopefully in the future a lot of these games at full speed with those additional OpenGL drivers. So the way the Pi works is it has OpenGL drivers or video drivers included, but there's no driver directly telling it, you know, to pull from those additional drivers, especially for 3D rendering. They're just sitting there without really any instructions. So that's pretty much what's going on with the pi4 model. So unfortunately, nobody has seen exactly what this thing can really do, because it's really been lacking driver support since it's been launched, even back last year. So really unfortunate, but there's a lot of leeway being made. And remember, a lot of these advancements that you guys are getting in the Retropie community, they are being done by community members. So a lot of the things that you guys have seen as far as the video output script, this build, several other things that have been implemented, those are guys who you guys know maybe have talked to. So it's all really community driven. So there's no like one corporate entity behind it, helping making this stuff happen. So again, so I have arcade classics on mine. I know that one of the other benefits of having a pi4 is, of course, you guys can run the newer emulators like MAME 2016 and MAME, so you guys will be able to take advantage of that. I have Daphne, all those games running pretty fine on here as well. And then, of course, I will have, I think probably in total about maybe 70 or so light gun games. So there are some stuff that I am including. If you guys are familiar with my Supreme 1-Up image, you will get all of those light gun games plus several more. Unfortunately, my previous scraping method didn't work out the way that I did. Well, it didn't work out the way that it was supposed to, because the scraper program that I was using renamed all of these, and so I had to scroll through and actually find the name by ROM. So, for example, Mobile Suit Gundam was called G something. So, even though it is or was in my arcade set, it totally screwed up everything. So I'm gonna have to go through here and do everything right manually myself. All right, and reassociate everything. So here we guys go. This is what a lot of the arcade games or light gun games will look like as well. And I think that kind of covers it. Obviously, I think there was some other, just in general, this is Eepromed updated. So there is a difference between the Eepromed update from the pi4 to the pi8, the 8GB model. Obviously, if you're using a SSD, you're going to get faster speeds as opposed to using a bottleneck SD card. So not only from a menu perspective, but transferring ROMs and also gaming, you guys will see a slight improvement as far as gaming if you guys are using a SSD or even something a little faster. I know somebody was asking me about the MVE drives. Obviously, I think those are a lot faster, so you will have that there. But all in all, if you guys are going to be looking at reviews going, forward. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot to tell you guys about. So this further proves, because I did see a increase in speed using an SSD, especially a one with the 1000 gigabyte read speed. This proved my video I did about 2 years ago, proved it correctly in terms of the read speed on memory cards affecting your gaming performance and the menus. Quite some time ago, there had been a lot of YouTubers pushing Amazon cards, cheap cards, online. And obviously, I'm sure they have an Amazon affiliate account, as well as a lot of people do. I even have one. But the thing about it is, the cards were cheap. I mean, I had the little 1 mark in front of it. They were cheap. I mean, I only recommend Samsung Extreme, which are the A3 cards, and also Samsung Evo. You can use Evo Select. Those are pretty decent speeds. So if you had the real cheap cards where they're the SanDisk and it had an A1 or something, or a 10 on it, those were really dirt cheap cards and they weren't even worth it. And I noticed a lot of reviewers who would reveal Supreme builds. I can speak, behind that, because I've tested all the Supreme builds. I know what they could do in and out. It really wasn't forthcoming with information or honest, because if you're using crappy hardware to test something that's optimized for something else, then you're not doing the community any justice by doing that. So guys, I really hope you guys really enjoyed this review. I do have some other things coming up for you guys. Obviously, we weren't going to get into a lot of gameplay, because obviously you guys know what games really play on this and what doesn't. So there are still some improvements to be made as far as having the Vulkan drivers and also running from a 64-bit OS. So again, if this is your first time getting an SBC, please do not be discouraged by anything you guys see. This is a great board. It's a great price, $55 for the pi4. I think the 8 gigabyte was 75 bucks. I got 3 of them. Sent one off to I sent some off to some devs to help out the community, get you guys going. So that's pretty much my involvement, in case you guys were wondering. I help try to drive a lot of this stuff to make things comfortable and easier for you guys. This is KDK. We'll see you guys later. Make sure you guys stay tuned and hit that notification bell. I'm just here to help you guys out and help you guys get going and work out all the kinks. But yes, my Venom build will be coming. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will catch you guys later. Peace.